Hi guys, in this video I want to focus on getting your first paid job as a photographer. Welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, my name's Steve Gerrard. I'm originally from England, but now I'm in Montreal. I'm a photographer, amongst other things. And today we're going to talk about how you are going to make some money from your photography. So maybe you've got the good gear, you know the techniques, you're starting to develop a little bit of your own style, but how do you get the money to pay your monthly bills and give you a lifestyle that you are dreaming about? Getting that first paying client is kind of the hardest part, because once you've got them, then if you do a good job, then hopefully you're going to get word of mouth referrals from that client. So one client becomes 2, becomes 4, becomes 8. You get the idea. But how do you get that first client that's actually going to give you money to take pictures with your camera? I'm going to go through a few tips, like my top tips about how to do that, and how to do that in a way which will give you longevity and hopefully make photography a career where you can leave your day job and pursue your passion. Pursue your passion. Say that 10 times. I'll also give you my opinion on the controversial subject of shooting for free when you're starting out. So these days, more than ever, people need photos for online, social media, all that good stuff. So how do you get people to pay you to bring your camera to make photos for them? Let's get into it. Now, my first tip would be start close to home. That means just letting your friends and family know that you are taking this photography thing seriously. And if they ever need a photographer, or they know somebody who needs a photographer, that you are up for the job and you are willing to get out there and make good pictures for people. Beyond that, start looking in your local area, stay local, stay close to home, and start casting your net further afield to people that you don't know, whether that's through Facebook groups, like local Facebook groups. Just make sure that people in your area know that you're a photographer and that you are a good photographer. You can share images on Facebook or wherever you want to do that. You can go onto Instagram and you can hashtag your local area so that people can find you. You can find local businesses on Instagram especially, and on Facebook, and maybe contact them, just giving them an example of what you do. And pay attention to events in your local area that might need photographers, whether it's theatre performance or whether there's an event going on in your local park for the area, and somebody from the local council might not have thought about having a photographer there to capture it. Or just turn up and take pictures, and then make sure you post the best ones into the Facebook event group or some similar local groups, so that people can see your pictures, can see that you're a professional photographer rather than just taking pictures on your phone. And even though you're not getting paid at that point, this is just spreading the word, casting your net, and letting people in your local area know that you could be the person to go to for photography. If you do get invited to cover a local event, then make sure when you go down there that you take business cards, or find some way to make sure that people know who you are. Being the official photographer for an event means that you basically are given access to go and talk to people and take their picture and let people know who you are, and just get those relationships building in your local area. My next tip would be to start personal projects for the kind of photography that you want to be paid for. So if you want to get into advertising, then you could maybe set up things that look like they're made for an advert and start building a portfolio that way. Or if you want to be like a car photographer, then shoot cars in a different way to what you've seen other people do, make it look as professional as possible, and then start approaching people that might need those kind of pictures for their business, and then you've got something to show how you actually do it. Once you've got a few images like that, then just make sure that you show the best of the best, whether it's on your website, your Instagram feed, or your Facebook page, wherever it is. Just show the best, and then hopefully people will see that work and start to think about you as a photographer for that kind of work. My next tip is to actually email companies that might need photos, especially if you find them online and don't think their photos are particularly of a high standard, or maybe they just look a bit dated now. Get in touch with them, have a good email with correct grammar, no bad spelling mistakes, folks. And in the email, have some of your photos that would relate to what they might need. Don't give them a link to your website, because people are super busy these days and probably won't click it. make sure that your images, your best images, are in the email and grab their attention straight away. And make sure that the pictures in the email are the kind of pictures that they might need for whether it's their website or social media or any of that kind of stuff. Keep the email professional, but probably a little bit friendly, like not too formal. Keep it short and to the point. And one tip that I can give you is to include your area in the actual subject. So whether you're in Montreal like I am, or if you're in a small town out in the country, if you include the area that you want to be working in the subject, then they're going to see you as their local photographer and somebody who they can access quickly and easily. And even if they don't need pictures straight away, maybe in the future when they do need pictures, they will remember your email. They'll be able to find you easily in the search. And if you're contacting businesses that are maybe further afield, maybe in the nearest city to where you live or even beyond that, having the city where you're based in the email or in the subject of the email means that when they need a photographer in that place, they can search and find you more easily. As an example, for me as a music photographer, if I wanted to get in touch with Rolling Stone, who are based in New York, I would email them, but I would make sure that Montreal was in my subject, because at some point, maybe in a year or so, they have a band that's coming through Montreal and they might want to do a feature, but they haven't got a local photographer. So they do a quick search in their emails. Have we got any photographers based near Montreal? My email comes up. I've got the job. Always make sure your email looks professional, like have contact details and a logo branding in the email at the bottom. But again, keep it short and sweet, to the point, include images and press send. My next tip is to try and shadow photographers in your local area that are working in the field of photography that you want to move into. So as an example, if you want to be a wedding photographer, contact wedding photographers in your area, nicely short to the point emails like we mentioned, and just offer your services as an associate. Sometimes people need more than one photographer for a wedding. About half of my weddings that I shoot, I use a second shooter, and that's a brilliant way of actually getting experience in the field. You can learn as much as you like on YouTube, but actually being at a physical wedding or whatever kind of event it is you want to be shooting and watching how other photographers work and learning that way is just the best way of getting experience and developing your style. Quite often photographers will pay you to help them out. It might not be as much as you need to make a living from photography, but it's something to make it worthwhile and to go in your wallet, and you are getting experience at the same time, and you are also building a portfolio in the field of photography that you want to be working in. Now for the big question of whether you should start shooting for free when you're starting out as a photographer. I personally think yes, but with a few caveats to that. The main advantages of working for free are you are building your portfolio, you are gaining experience, and probably the most important is you are building relationships with other people who could then go on to become paying clients or refer you to people who are going to pay you. And it's just that word of mouth thing that can spread out as long as you do a good job. Even though these people might not be paying you actual cash for doing these jobs, make sure that they understand that there is value to what they're getting and try and get something in return. Make sure that you ask them as part of the deal for getting free photography that they are going to share them online with a credit, with a link to your website or social media page. And that is going to help spread the word on your photography. If they paid you for the job, then you can't really insist that they're going to credit you wherever they use the picture and link back to your site. But if you're doing it for free, then you have that leverage to kind of ask for something in return, because that's going to help them, but it's also going to help you. Even though I've been a professional photographer for a long time, recently I've wanted to get into more kind of personal brand photography, which I didn't have that much in my portfolio of that kind of photography. So I put the word out in local Facebook groups that I was looking for 10 businesses that needed images for their social media or for their website, and that I would come and do the shoot for free in return for them sharing the pictures and crediting me online. Not only did I make some really good connections and get some pictures for my portfolio, which then I used to make a page on my website, especially for that kind of photography, but I also found out that I really enjoy shooting personal brands, and that's something that I definitely want to pursue more of. Now, of course, once you've done a few shoots for free, then you need to find that line where if people are coming to you asking you to do pictures, then you're going to start charging, whether it's a low amount and then build it up, or if you just want to go in at a certain figure that you think you can sustain because your photography is good enough, That's completely up to you, but use these free shoots as a stepping stone to that. Another tip I'll give you that I actually went with when I was starting out is if people ask you to do things and you're not sure if your skill set is quite at that level, say yes. And then between saying yes and doing the shoot, make sure that you learn whatever you need to learn to get up to that level. That is a good way of stepping up to the game, getting better as a photographer and learning new skills. But make sure that you are ready for the job and don't let people down, because you always want to deliver what you promised. One important tip I would give you is do not leave your day job until you are earning a good income from photography. Just because you hit a certain level doesn't mean you can sustain that for years and years and years. I would say you should be earning more than your day job at least before you actually quit that day job to take photography seriously. But once you do quit the day job, then you've got more time to market yourself and focus especially on that. I hope all that helps you on your journey. If it does, give me a like and subscribe if you want to see more videos. I wish you all the best with your journey as a photographer. And if you've got any questions, leave them in the comments below. And I'll see you in the next video. Thanks, guys.